My name is Alejandra Contreras, and I'm the Revit manager at Martin Martin Inc. Martin Martin is a mid-sized civil and structural engineering firm headquartered in Lakewood, Colorado, with a total of 7 offices nationwide. Please allow me to tell you what it takes to do what I do, in case one day you want to do it too. I was 12 when I came to the United States. Education has always been the most important aspect of life for me. For my parents, they were open to the idea of us following our dreams. My mom is really supportive in that area, but she's glad that I graduated and went to school. I saw a walkthrough once as a presentation, and it seemed like a building was built in an animated version of us was walking through the building, and it was I had access to it. It seemed like a video game to me, and it honestly felt like I was playing Sims, but with a lot less restrictions on social goals and requirements, and it just felt like this is the building of Sims. I was originally intending to go for a associates in applied science and pretty much graduated from it, and then on top of that got my certification or the associate's degree in engineering graphics of architecture at Red Rocks Community College. And it really took learning AutoCAD and then Revit to just getting obsessed with Revit and its tools. The difference between Revit and computer aided drafting or CAD is the interface. There is a CAD 3D, and CAD is line specific and or line based, I should say. There's a point A and point B, an end, a midpoint, and an end, and that's it. With Revit, it's a 3D model or what's called parametric modeling, where you have a start, a top, bottom, end, left, right, interior face, exterior face. So when you have that tool to still work the same as AutoCAD, which means you're still working line specific. You still just define the first and the end point, but you get a lot more from it. You're able to begin using something the same way as CAD with a much better outcome. We use Revit to develop construction documents, which means we model the building in 3D, set up sheets, which used to be called blueprints, and after approval, begin construction. The responsibilities for a BIM technician is to transfer red lines to drawings, draft details, create plans, sections, elevations, views, details, and schedules, model, and produce drawings from the model. The required qualifications: graduation from high school. Desired qualifications include drafting, construction, or architectural design experience, which means able to read and understand construction documents and be familiar with Revit. These are some of the details that I wanted to show. This is something that we use as reference. A lot of projects will have similar properties, whether it's concrete, cold form steel, or steel connections. I also wanted to show how it looks like from a hand sketch and designing a project to how it actually look like in Revit. And finally, I wanted to show a building walkthrough, just to have a little visual presentation of how the buildings look like throughout the design process. And the reason why I decided to show this is because the first time I saw a walkthrough in Revit was when I decided that I really liked it. It kind of looked like a video game. It seemed cool to have the possibility to model a house and walk through it before it gets built, and the possibilities are endless. I had a lot of favorite projects that I just enjoyed a lot at the time that I later used on other projects, and I just kept talking about it and saying, we did this like this and it worked perfectly. And I just use a lot of my favorite projects as kind of lessons learned, whether it didn't work perfectly or whether we tried something and now we know it works, it doesn't. One that comes to mind was a land port, where we had to give them options of how a building could look like and be waterproofed. So we were dealing with a wall that had that water had penetrated to, so there was a lot of water leakage and damage because of it. So they were just going to reconstruct the entire facade, and they were asking how will it look with panels, with metal, with glass, and we gave them a one model with three different designs, and that's a possibility in Revit. That's, you only model one thing once, you split it into three, you change those three items however you want it, and then you tell them, yes, that is exactly what I intended to do. But that was one of the ones that I was most impressed with because it didn't take that long and it looked like I had worked on this forever. It looked like I had done three different projects when I had done one. If you're interested in construction, in buildings, in renovation, additions, interior design, structural design, um, even mechanical or electrical, if you're just interested in any part of building or construction, Revit is a software that is currently being used by a lot of companies because it kind of functions as a hive through to interface with other software. And once you learned Revit, you have a great starting point to move on, whether it's to become an engineer or to become a designer. You will now have the tools to model buildings and really show people what your dream is and put it into paper.